Whereas Marco Rubio, who also has to follow what Trump says, does that in a way that he, Marco Rubio, never loses the feeling the man is thinking for himself. With Vance, that's gone in my eyes.
What if you turn hardship into greatness, anger into serenity? Everything changes. Make your life a masterpiece. Welcome, I'm Yannick, your host, and now joining me, Edward Prisse. Edward Prisse is the author of Sleeping with the Enemy, What the White House Still Misses on China, and joins me now to really discuss the current state of affairs between the United States of America and Iran, and really talk about the predictions that Mr. Prisse made a couple of months ago that the Iranians will play Trump, and we will also discuss the political faith of Donald Trump. Welcome back, Mr. Prisse, to the show. It's such a honor to have you.
It's a very great pleasure to talk to you, Yannick, especially because every time you ask the questions so well, that makes the conversations interesting. Thank you very much for me being here.
Give us quickly an update on where we are between the United States and Iran, and why do you think you were so right when you made these predictions a couple of months ago that the Iranians will play Donald Trump? In other words, they have time what the US does not.
You say you want me to answer you on why I predicted that. It was based on my almost certainty that the Iranians, in fact, are furious with Trump because he has already a long time treated them very badly. As you know, he has scuttled the big agreement that Obama had made, which was signed by China, by Russia, by everybody, by France, by Germany, and Trump stepped out on the excuse that Iran wasn't not keep its word in the account, which is nonsense. And now he comes back and attacks them on the excuse that they must not have a human nuclear weapon, which the Accord of Obama had already arranged. So I thought these guys are almost inevitably so furious with Trump that they will play with him, and that's happening. So this prediction came out and is still coming out, and I'm practically sure when you see what's happening, they will continue this till the midterm elections. And our talk now today is a second prediction I'd like to make, which is maybe a bit less sure than the previous one, because there are more unknown factors, but it's fun, and it's about what is going to happen to Trump now.
So what will happen to Donald Trump, especially, really after the midterm election? What's your prediction?
Well, my first prediction is based on what you see, and everybody sees that Trump is slowly losing his way. And the first sign was that he started the Iran war, saying in 5 days it will be over, and it's now 6 months. It means that he didn't prepare, that he doesn't have good judgment, and that he's losing his face. That's one, but we all see that. The second thing is when you look at him now, he made yesterday the same huge error that he made with Putin in Alaska. Everybody knows that, you remember. He thought, when he met Putin in Alaska, that Putin and he would be friends. And he was, of course, completely mistaken. He said then, my relation with Putin is so good, I'll talk to him, and things will happen. He made the same error, which is an error of character. He said today or yesterday, he has a very good relation with North Korean leaders. It is exactly the same stupid error. He made it with Putin. He makes it again now with these guys. What that means, that he doesn't learn from his idiocies. And that means he begins to be really incompetent. Then what I predict is the following. Iran will keep up their stringing him along and not making an accord until the midterms. That will negatively influence the midterms for Trump. And I think almost everybody already now predicts that he will lose both houses in Congress in the midterms. That's a prediction easily made. Everybody begins to think it's going to go like that. But what's happening now is what I'd like to see happening and what I also predict will happening, which is once the Democrats have the two houses, their courage in what they can do will suddenly surge enormously. Right now they are still uncertain. They even fight between each other. But when they have found and gotten soon majority in both the two houses of Congress, they will have a tremendous surge in, we can do something. And I think very soon they will try to impeach Trump. That is my first prediction today. They will try. It's not only my wish, but my wish is, of course, valueless. It is also what I predict will happen. And if they do that, my second wish is that Vance, the vice president, will be impeached at the same time, because many people, and I are with them, think Vance is an empty thing. The good guy around Trump is Marco Rubio, but Vance is not at all a good guy. So let's hope that both Trump and Vance get impeached. And if that happens, of course, everything changes and it becomes exciting, because then the U.S., which has been misled by Trump into the quite horrible, stupid utterings, stupid opinions that have alienated Trump's and America's allies, everything will change then. So for today, my prediction is A, Trump will lose the midterms, B, the Democrats will get courage and they will impeach him, hopefully too, Vance, then, because otherwise, if Trump is impeached and Vance is not impeached, by law, Vance will become president. If Trump disappears, whether he dies or is impeached, the vice president is the next guy. And Vance is not at all worth a good man. He's just imitating what Trump wants him to say. He's not at all a self-thinking, solid man, which is Marco Rubio is. I have much respect for Rubio. And so this is what I wanted to say today, because we're going to see what's happening. And go ahead.
Dive a little bit deeper in why Vance is basically a problem. He's not an independent thinker, so it seems.
Exactly.
That he is a loyalist. Explain this further. What is also interesting is that he was actually against this intervention in Iran. So he still, according to news outlets, he was opposed to it, but he just said, okay, if you decide to do so, I will still support you. But nonetheless, he had the courage, apparently, to step up, since he himself served
that was nice.
Iraq.
Of course, anybody with common sense would have been and was against fighting Iran. And so that shows that Vance is not completely an idiot. I quite agree with you. But I still since then, he simply, because he has to, that is how Trump is, he has to follow what Trump says. And he does that, in my eyes, too easily, whereas Marco Rubio, who also has to follow what Trump says, does that in a way that he, Marco Rubio, never loses the feeling the man is thinking for himself. With Vance, that's gone in my eyes.
What does it mean for Europe, the most recent developments, and in case that this happens, what you are predicting? What impact will it have for Europe,
It means
good
for
or bad?
Europe that everything that Trump has done, and he has done a few good things for us. He has, let's say what he did well for Europe. He has said, I will not help you if you're in trouble, and also not in NATO. That has made Europe suddenly sit up and start doing their own thing, which they never did for many decades. So Trump has, funnily enough, by being very unfriendly to us, Europeans, has helped Europe standing up. So that's one. But for the rest, he has alienated Europe now. He despises Europe. He even says that the European Union should again fall apart, which is nonsense. And your question is, what will it mean for Europe when that is happening, what I now predict? It will mean that the whole apple cart, the whole thing of relation with the US will have to be reestablished, and we will have to see who will be the president, what he will do. And about this, I am quite optimistic, because the next president, I hope, will have the common sense to see that it is not Europe the enemy, that the danger, the other power that is overwhelming us is China, and that US and Europe need to go together before they can even stand up to China. So what it means for Europe, it just means the whole thing then is open, and we have to wait and see.
Are you surprised of Donald Trump and what he did?
I did have, I must admit, some admiration for him in the beginning. He's got an enormous guts. He has also got a nice intuition. He is the first US president who realizes, and his predecessors did not, that China and commerce with China and free trade with China is dangerous for us. And so in the beginning I thought, well, he knows what he should know and what he should do. But then it has turned out, in my eyes, that he's a very strange man. And you could give many examples. One of the good examples, I'd like to repeat it. He thought he is so impressive himself that Putin will become his friend and he could do things. And then you had Alaska, and he, of course, completely lost faith in that. And he does it again, which means that he is stuck in his own character, and he doesn't even learn for what's happening. So by now, and there are many examples. I mean, what he said about Greenland, I will take it. Instead of saying, couldn't we not have an agreement about a military coverage, which is right. The territory of Greenland should have a sort of cover against rockets together with the US, because the geography makes that necessary against China. But then he does it in an idiotic way. And it is full of these major errors that Trump has made. Does that answer your question?
Do you think the way he does, if you can actually call it diplomacy, does it change how states interact with one another in the future? That, for example, a president just basically speaks his mind on X?
There was part of your sentence which didn't come over. Can you do it again, please? I'm very sorry. Can you
Do
ask
you think that Trump changed completely the way diplomacy will be done in the future?
No, I'm pretty sure it will all come back to normal, with one exception. All the allies and all the enemies will be more skeptical about the US than they were before. Before, everybody thought they knew where US stands. Trump has changed that so violently that all the other countries in the world will have this feeling of, even if everything goes back to normal, which I think it will, they still will have, for at least one decade, deep hesitancy about, can we trust these guys or not? That Trump has destroyed, but I don't think he's destroyed the way diplomacy will happen. That will, in my eyes, completely come back.
And I think there is a new appreciation for diplomacy once we look back, and given the fact what we face right now. And I think you are really right. It's usually with everything, right? Usually we go back to the roots because it has been time and again proven that it is probably the best way to do so.
You say it exactly the way I think it is. Exactly, Yannick. Very clear. You formulate better than I do. And yes, in the past, as you say, it has worked. There never was any doubt in the past. And of course, any system that we have, and you can cite Winston Churchill with that, who says there are many systems that are very bad, but the one who is least bad is democracy, although it is still bad. The same goes, of course, for diplomacy. It is a system which is full of loopholes, and things go right and go wrong and go right, but the system has proven, as you said, over many decades that it works. So I'm sure it'll come back.
It's almost like the church. It's an institution that exists about 2,000 years. It's completely with a lot of flaws, but that's what we are, right? We are ultimately human beings with a lot of flaws, and that obviously reflects on our institution.
Exactly.
Edward Prisse, what a blessing. Thank you so much for being on the show. Edward Prisse is the author of Sleeping with the Enemy, What the White House Still Missed on Shot.
You can find on Goodreads some very rave reviews about it, which make me, of course, very happy. Thank you very much, Yannick.
Always a pleasure. Edward Prisse.
That's why knowledge matters.